Welcome back to the What's Up Eddie channel, Divine Therapy Sessions, and of course I'm the one and only Eddie. So glad to have you guys back, and these are my Divine Therapy Sessions. And in today's Eddie's Life Hack, lesson number 16, we're going to talk about plans and to be prepared, and all plans are subject to change. So this story is a brutal one. It's funny now talking about it, and I know when I talk to my old army buddy about it, we laugh. We've laughed about it in the past anyway. So the way this story goes is, so we're in Afghanistan. It's a special operations mission. So what our platoon, which is like a group of people, right, which anywhere roughly around 20 to 25 people, let's just say that much. And so what we were meant to do is fly in on a Chinook, some of us on helicopters, and we drop down, everyone gets off, and we're in a valley, right? So they're actually going to raid raid the village that was there, because they had it was a place where they were funding the Taliban or the Al-Qaeda, whoever it was, and they wanted to raid it because it was like one of the main revenue points. And so there was two ways to get out, and we're one way, so through that valley, and then the opposite direction. And so it's a choke point, so we're meant to block it off, right? So it takes so much to plan and prepare beforehand, right? You have to go over the mission, there's briefings, there's loading, unloading, that you have to be a certain weight, and so for just one man like myself, you're holding a rucksack, right? I have my big machine gun, which is a 240 Bravo, and then the gear that I have on, all of it weighs a certain amount, so only so much weight can be on. And I flew in a Blackhawk, so there was only 4 of us, and then the 2 pilots. So I was one of the better gunners, right? So I was usually the best gunners are put like the head people, whether that be the platoon leader or the platoon sergeant. So needless to say, there is extensive planning beforehand. And I've learned many lessons from a platoon leader. His name was Archibald. This guy was so intelligent, and he always taught lessons, but he let you go through the lesson, whether you mess it up or not. And then after, whether you meet with success or you don't, you come back. And anytime that I've dealt with this man, he said, okay, what did you do? Go through the plan, right? And then he says, okay, what could you have done better? And then once I say what I've done better, then he said, what are you going to do next time? What did you learn? And he's like, all right, so when it happens again, next time I won't be so nice about this. And I was like, and I always learn from these lessons, because they're so beautiful. And I just think that teaching someone like that is the best way. But so the story is a little funny too. So we all had to, so in the military, everything is tedious, right? It's all step by step by step. They even have manuals on how to make your bed. That's how they've dumbed down the military. And it's a terrible way to say it, but they have. We even say that. They dumb it down so much, so like you don't really even have to ask questions. You know exactly how to do things, right? So one of the things is a packing list. And in your rucksack, you have to have these certain items in order to do this mission. This is like the bare minimum that needs to be in there. So as all soldiers, I follow the packing list, right? I put everything in there that I needed for that mission. So as we get on the Blackhawk, we leave, we fly all the way through and get to this valley. We land in the valley, and we all start our mission, right? And we fly in during the nighttime because it's a special operations mission, right? And then we have our NVGs, which is our night vision goggles, and we're walking through the valley and get to the choke point. So I set up my tripod, put on my weapon, and we wait for morning, right? So the weather was all right, right? It was okay. You can't complain about it, you know? And then as the daybreak happened, you know, it was clear, there was nothing wrong. You know, it really wasn't any much to say. Like, we didn't really catch any of the action. I think we had maybe 2 vehicles that went through. But the funny part of this story is this. So the weather got really bad in the valley, and it started to rain, and this rain turned into hail, and it literally was so freaking cold. So me and my buddy Pronto, we're sitting there, right? And we're freezing. And then the platoon leader, his job is to not only make sure the mission's going as planned, but to make sure his soldiers are okay, right? So he comes up to us, and we're freezing, shivering our butts off, and he's like, "You guys all right?" Like, "Yeah, we're just really cold." We're like, he's like, "Well, where's your jacket at?" And we both look at each other and like, and I remember this is the funniest part of the story, because Brett goes, he looks up at him, he's like, "Wait, what?" And we noticed that he looks warm. He has his gloves and he has his jacket, and we're like, "Wait a minute, that wasn't on the packing list." And Archibald started laughing his butt off. I've never heard anyone laugh like that. And he just walks away, and we both look at each other and we're like, "It's not on the packing list." And he turns around, looks at us, and he's like, "So just because it's not on the packing list, you don't think that it's not bright to bring a coat?" And I just remember thinking to myself, wow, he's so right. Why wouldn't I have thought of that before? Because, and this is why I teach this lesson, is it's always good to be prepared, thoroughly prepared, but always know that the plan may change. Everything is subject to change. Everything is tentative. Getting attached to the plan, getting attached to this, in my case, the packing list. But you could put this lesson into anything. See, when we got back and we're around the fire and we're smoking a cigarette and we're having fun shooting the ish, I looked over at Archie and I was like, "Dude, why didn't you tell us to pack a jacket?" And he's like, "Isn't that like common sense?" He's like, "You guys packed a raincoat and then a thin like overcoat, but it's not like the thick jacket that's going to keep you warm." And he's like, "You guys always know that the plan may change. It's always subject to change." And he always told us that everything is subject to change. No plan goes to exactly how it was meant to go, right? And he said, especially when you're on a mission. And he preached to us that day, because most of the soldiers were so cold we had to go into a hut, and it made our mission more dangerous on all of us. So I remember him saying, next time, if you feel like you should get a coat, or you feel like you should bring gloves, or you should ask that question even if you think it's stupid. He's like, I didn't think it's just common sense, right? Like, but that's why they say it's like everything's subject to change at the end of the day. And for me, it stuck with me, it carried on with me. And so now every time that I'm doing something that means something to me, right? Because it's always imperative to be prepared. So how do we relate this to our spirituality, right? To our spiritual journey? A lot of the times we get attached to how things are going to work out. And usually, and in my case, the plan never goes exactly how it was supposed to go. And I get attached on how it's going to work out and how I want it to be perfect. And that's not how God makes this happen. His plan is always looks different, but it's always planned out better, because I can't see the bird's eye view a lot of the times. Only he can, because universe is intricate that way, because there's many lessons being learned, not just one lesson. And I'm hyper focused on how I want to get it and how it should look, and that's not how it works. I'm skipping 7 or 8 steps and want to go straight to lesson 12 or step 12. It doesn't work that way. In order to evolve as a human, these plans that we make, whether that be manifesting, whether that be in a relationship, whether that's whatever it is for you guys, but I know for me, there are steps to everything. Because why? Because we're learning stuff along the way. And it takes so much energy when we have to have it specific, right? I always say it like this. When we're manifesting, or when I manifest, I say, so like, say, just for an example, I say I'm manifesting for $1 million, and I want to win that $1 million through the lottery. I hear people say that all the time, because I said it at one time. Like, you know what? I'm just going to manifest $1 million. So what is the issues with that? Do you realize so the odds for that to happen already, not to say that the divine won't make that happen for you, because the divine will. There's nothing that is impossible to happen. But when you think about it like this, what are the odds of you winning the lottery, right? We have a better chance of dying in your toilet than winning the lottery. Like, the statistics are outrageous, right? So if it's outrageous for us here, how much more outrageous and how much energy is it going to take for the higher realm to do this for us? Now, let's say you just pulled back from the plan, and you took it from a bird's eye perspective, and you said, you know what? I'm going to manifest $1 million. I'm not going to put a time limit on it. I'm not going to be so specific as to say, like, the lottery, right? What I'm going to do is manifest this $1 million, that this is going to be in my bank account. Now, would it be better for you to not only, you got to give to get, right? Like, make it easier on them when you do that. So if you have a life purpose, wouldn't it be like imperative for you to put in the work? Yes. See, the problem with just getting $1 million is the $1 million it's not going to last. It's going to fall through your fingers, because one, you didn't work for it. That's the huge part, right? That's one of the major lessons, a part of this platform. Conquering our self-defeating behaviors, learning the third density paradigms, shifting those paradigms, and moving into a higher way of living. Because you and I still haven't figured it out. You haven't figured out finances. You haven't figured out what it means to earn something. And once you earn it, you have more of a thankfulness, a gratitude for what you have. And if you have gratitude for it because you've earned it, you're gonna want to hold on to that, right? So there's many lessons in between it. So that's why a lot of the times we're wasting our time when we say, I'm gonna go win the lottery. It's the fun in the journey, you guys. That's all I'm saying. And it's always good to be prepared, right? And the plan is always subject to change. Prepare yourself for anything. But when we're prepared, it gives us a chance to land on our feet if we trip, right? Or brace ourselves. It gives us a chance to improv. Another way I do this is when I'm doing videos with you guys, right? When I'm teaching my lesson, I go over like an outline of what kind of the ideas of what I'm going to say. I make sure I'm going to wear what I'm wearing. My hair's done, whatever the case is, brush my teeth, and I meditate beforehand. I have a system down that I go through, that I have a routine that keeps it where I can do these videos frequently, with regularity, with precision. But I also this isn't, I never write it all out, right? If I write down certain bullet points, so a lot of it's channeled, a lot of it is improvisation. But even when I do have something that is like verbatim what I'm supposed to say, I always give myself a chance to improv in it. So just know that, like, it's always good to be prepared no matter what, but always know that the plan is subject to change at all times. I hope you guys like my story. Make sure to give me a thumbs up, a subscribe. I love you guys. I'll catch you in the next one. All right, guys.